battle with Yaiba and Susumaru comes to a big bloody end in another epic episode of Kimetsu no Yaiba. This was another fantastic episode of a series which is continuing to blow me away with its amazing atmosphere, its fantastic action, and its characters, which I actually end up giving a shit about. I have to say, I really love the main character Tanjiro. At first he sort of came across as sort of like your stock main protagonist, but he's a little more layered than I actually thought. And his sister Nezha Ko is no slouch either. In fact, Nezha Ko might be one of my favorite characters from the entire series. She's incredibly adorable, and she'll jack you in the jaw. But most of this episode was about the concluding battle with Yaiba and Susumaru, two supposed members of the 12 Demon Moons, or at least that's what they want us to believe. In the previous episode, they brought up the 12 Demon Moons, which are essentially like the elite warriors who work under Muzan Kibutsuji. Apparently in this episode, we get to learn that that's not actually the truth. They're actually lower level demons, and considering that they were this strong and gave Tanjiro and Nezuko this hard of a battle, really, things are only going to get more intense from here. But we get a pretty solid conclusion to the battle with Yaiba, where in the last episode, Tanjiro had just decapitated him with his massive swirling water attack. But Yaiba's not going to go out just immediately. He ends up attacking him with multiple arrows, which pierce him in different parts all over his body, basically sending him bouncing around all over the place. And what's really cool here is that Tanjiro is able to stop himself from getting hurt from the impact by constantly using all of his signature abilities. He pretty much has to pull everything out of his bag of tricks to actually survive this assault, and it's really damned awesome. And then we finally get to Susumaru, and I really thought that Tanjiro was going to be the one to finish her off, but no, this was just an excuse to see more of Nezha Ko in action and to prove that she is incredibly freaking awesome. It looks like that big injection that Tamayo gave her is going to be very useful, because in the last episode she tried to kick one of Susumaru's Tamari balls, and in this one she pretty much does the same thing except without losing her legs. She's a very special type of demon. She's basically become strong on her own without actually having to consume human flesh. She's a new type of breed of demon, so to speak. And the scene between her and Susumaru is incredibly satisfying, as they're constantly kicking this ball back in between one another with an incredible force that can destroy even brick walls themselves. Nezha Ko actually manages to surprise Susumaru just a little bit, but Tamayo realizes that Susumaru still really isn't even giving it her all, and that's when she decides to activate her special curse ability, where she scratches her arm and all of those weird sort of like flowery pheromones sort of come out into the air, and they have the distinctive ability to allow people to basically tell the truth and say what's actually on their mind. It's basically a truth serum that's in a sort of like aerosol form, and we also get to learn that Muzan Kibutsuji actually manages to keep tabs on pretty much every single demon. He's always listening in, and that makes sense, because if you go back to that one previous episode where Tanjiro was talking to that one demon and he wanted to learn a little bit more about Muzan, that demon was horrified. He didn't even want to say his name. And we get to learn why, because we get to see when Susumaru actually mentions Muzan after being berated by Tamayo, she immediately starts to freak out and starts begging for forgiveness, talking to seemingly no one, when out of nowhere, 3 gigantic demon arms just burst out of her body in an extremely bloody fashion. One comes directly out of her mouth, turns around, grabs her face, and just crushes it in its massive demon hands. Basically, you don't speak bad about Muzan, otherwise you're gonna need one hell of a makeover. Basically, Susumaru is deader than shit, which I actually thought was kind of funny when Tanjiro saw that she was basically just a giant pile of guts, and he's like, "Is she dead?" Yeah, she's pretty fucking dead. Not necessarily, of course. They have to wait until the sun comes up to basically just turn her body to a crisp. But still, there was no way that she was going to recover from that, and her death was incredibly tragic and very disturbing. It's at this moment that we also get to learn that apparently she wasn't a member of this big group. According to Tamayo, the real 12 Demon Moons are actually going to have a number inside of their eyeball to sort of signify that they're a part of this very distinguished group. So the battle comes to a close. Tamayo, Yushiro, and Nezha Ko decide to take refuge in the basement of their house, and that's where Tanjiro decides to meet them as he prepares to go on his next journey. Tamayo decides that maybe Nezha Ko should stay with her just in order to protect her and keep her out of battle, but Tanjiro realizes that he doesn't want to be separated from his sister any longer. He's never going to let that happen again, especially after the tragic death of his family. And speaking of family, what is kind of interesting is that Nezha Ko actually sees Tamayo and Yushiro as members of her own family, despite the fact that they are demons. We already know that Sakanji Orikadaki did some sort of weird suggestive spell on her to sort of always protect humans and to attack demons, but what's really cool is that Nezuko still seems to have some form of free will, so she can still think for herself. So whoever she perceives as a friend or as a family member, she'll actually treat them as such. So that really shows that in the future, we're probably going to be introduced to more demon characters who are going to become a part of Tanjiro's team, or at least more of his comrades. There's also some more funny moments between Tamayo and Yushiro, who again, Yushiro is completely obsessed with her. He's just so freaking in love, but he shows a more tender side in this episode with a small flashback of showing when he was human, when he was ill, and basically on his deathbed. And that's when Tamayo gave him the option. Should he die as a human or continue to live as a demon? It's a really tough choice you actually have to make, as if you become a demon, your life will never be the same again. You can't go out in the sunlight, you can barely associate with real people anymore, and you're just going to live forever, and potentially suffer from all of the side effects of what it means to become a demon. Yet he still manages to live on. I really hope that we're going to get to see more of Yushiro return, as they actually built up the fact that he is something of a martial artist himself, and I want to see more of him in action. Not to mention his interactions with Tamayo are just funny, and I do love that he at least mentioned that Nezuko was kind of cute. It was something that he begrudgingly had to do, but you can tell that during this short period, Tanjiro and Nezuko had something of an effect on his character. So the episode ends with Tanjiro and Nezuko leaving Asakusa as they make their way to the southeast to begin a brand new mission, which I'm sure is just going to be as intense as this one. So what's the rundown on this episode of Kimetsu no Yaiba? Again, this is just another really fantastic series, not exactly breaking the mold in terms of what it's actually doing new, but doing everything really freaking well. I mean, just all of the action scenes are really stellar. I can't sell that enough. The battle against Susumaru was incredibly exciting, especially because they mixed it up by having Nezuko fight against her, and they had like the most killer game of dodgeball that I've ever seen, and it was so well executed in terms of its animation and its action, and it's continuing to be backed by what I think is one of the best soundtracks that I've heard from an anime series in some time. It amplifies every action scene, and it makes all of the emotion and scary moments just 10 times better. I really do love it. It's amazing how the series is sort of a really great blend of action, horror, and even comedy, and it does every element so damn well, and most importantly of all, so far, every character has been really great. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about them. This episode also just displayed why Muzan is such a disturbing character and demon. He's basically responsible for the reason why other demons don't associate with one another, for the fear that if they actually do end up coming together, they could potentially kill him. Muzan's really powerful, but he's not invincible, and he knows that. That's why he has so much fear when it comes to the other demons working together, and that's why the group under him has this curse placed on them, where if they ever do anything wrong, his eyes are always watching, he can take care of them, and he can destroy demon cells. It's basically what happened when he killed that one girl where he injected his demon cells into her body. He basically does the same thing for all of his followers, and whenever anything goes wrong, boom, he just flips the switch and giant arms just come out of your body and rip you to shreds. It's a really ghastly visual in a series that's certainly filled to the brim with them, but a beautiful kind of ghastly. Everything in the series is really clean and solid looking, and like I said, the production value cannot be praised enough. It also looks like we're finally going to get to see some more of those new characters in the next episode of the series, as the episode actually ends with Tanjiro meeting that one yellow-haired kid, the one who is kind of a wuss during the end of the big exam, and I don't know what this character is going to be like. My implication from seeing the intro is that a lot of his abilities are going to involve electricity. It kind of goes with his color scheme, and I think it's kind of like a nice juxtaposition to Tanjiro's ability, which is water. I'm not sure what his deal is, aside from the fact that he's basically just a hornball who really wants to get married before he gets killed. He seems kind of like a weird sort of sad sack, pathetic type of character, but I have a feeling he's going to have a lot of potential, and he looks like he's going to be a great ally towards Tanjiro, or at least that's what the intro indicates anyway. But I'm excited to see what he's going to do, as he has a really interesting design, and hopefully he has just as interesting of a backstory. But this episode right here was a solid conclusion to one of the first major arcs of the series, and it's only got me hyped up for more. I'm giving this episode a 5 out of 5, another solid edition of Kimetsu no Yaiba. If you guys are not watching this series, I cannot recommend it enough. It's definitely one of my favorite shows this season, and I would love to get your thoughts about this episode. You can tell me all of them in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the future of Kimetsu no Yaiba. What did you think about the big battle against Yaiba and Susumaru? Muzan's ability to kill his followers in an instant? What are Tanjiro and Nezuko going to do next, and what do you hope to see from this brand new character who seems like he can harness electricity. Let's get a discussion going in the comments section below. So thank you all for watching this review. I will see you all next time, and of course make sure to subscribe to the channel for more anime reviews, reactions, and topic videos. One of the best ways to support this channel aside from watching videos is to check out my Patreon and PayPal account. You can find links for those in the comments section below. Remember, through my Patreon is a great opportunity to get a request for me to review just about any anime series you want. If any of you donate $10 or more, I will review a series of your choice, whatever it is. So make sure to check it out. Remember, a little bit goes a long way. Thank you all for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.